to win Brighton at home to get 3 points, but that game happened at home to Brighton. Chelsea went out of that competition, the FA Cup. Now they are going to the Premier League in the same stadium, the same fans, the same players. Can Chelsea win today and close the gap in that top 4 race? We'll find out today by 9 p.m. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Vote Sports on Vote 104.3 FM. My name is Godwin, and today is the Premier League weekend. We'll start with Chelsea, but first let me introduce the A team. Good morning, Nonso. How are you?
Good morning, Sport Maniacs. Good morning, listener. Welcome to the show. I don't know. I just feel like this Chelsea game, because of how they are going to talk about it, is going to drain a lot of my energy. So let me keep it like this, so I won't shout with John today. Welcome to the show, guys.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, my people. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you guys are planning something special. And if you're a Chelsea fan, try.
John, I don't know why you just got this Valentine's.
No. The problem is you can't skip it. But the problem is nice. The Valentine is going to happen in the evening, Abi. This morning we'll just go and do our prayers and all the Thanksgiving. In the evening we'll go and see Chelsea play.
And Brighton will do them.
Valentine. It's as simple as that.
Okay, today is Valentine's Day, so the love, for me, the love is to share to, especially the less privileged ones. So let's help ourselves, help your neighbors if you can. If you have more, share. Nigeria is tough, so if you have more, share with your neighbor today. Today is so happy Valentine's Day to our sports lovers, our sports fans, our sports family. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for always being there for us, and thank you for this family is growing. I can see your calls, your messages all the time that we are live here on the show. Okay, remember the Europa League happened yesterday. I'm going to talk about a few of those games. I'll give you the result of those games. I'll talk about a few of them because one of the results that was heartbreaking for me is Galatasaray, even though Osimhen did not play. But they lost heavily, like they trashed them. The trash was too much. I don't even know if they are going to come back to win this the next round of games. But let's see if it's going to happen. But the result for Europa League that happened yesterday is Fenerbahce winning 3-0 against Anderlecht. So Jose Mourinho's team winning 3-0 against Anderlecht. Union St. Julius 0, Ajax 2, Midtjylland 1, Real Sociedad 2, Ferencváros 1, Victoria Pleasant 0, AZ Alkmaar 4, Galatasaray 1. It was a trashing for AZ Alkmaar. Good results for them. 22, Bodo and Glint 1. Then Porto and Roma played at a 1-1 draw. Prague 1 and
Stuttgart Bucharest.
2, if you know them, is still there. Is now answer FCSB team.
My boys.
If they like, let them run from their name.
I don't know what
It's
they are
still the
running.
name. It's just like when you say Man United Football Club, and you now everything to FCSB. So it's like, see, we don't want to that other name is too long.
That other name,
When I was growing up,
they bring European title.
When I was growing up, Bucharest was a big club.
Of course, no doubt.
But
the name is too long.
Bucharest is not too long.
It's not too long.
See, it was-
Stoya Bucharest, man.
No,
That's
it was
the name.
no. It was there was something else.
There was nothing else, man.
there was
It's
something
always
else.
been Stoya Bucharest.
The
yes.
shortcuts now. The shortcuts.
Okay, let's not
Mm.
enter that argument now. Okay, let's start with the first game. Jose Mourinho, I think they are one leg in the next round of this game because winning 3-0 at home, they can just go home. Mourinho is a defensive coach, so you go to Anderlecht the next round and defend his whole life to win that game, probably to qualify for the next round.
Yeah, when you talk about silverware, you talk about Jose Mourinho. And when you talk about Jose Mourinho, you talk about the solid defense, the pack the balls with your life, the fake it to make it, or aspire to Maguire from the defenders and every other thing. But in this encounter, you saw a dominant performance by Fenerbahce. You saw the goals coming in from the young lad and Nesri and a couple of other players in the team. It was truly a very crushing victory, and they put themselves in a very strong position to move into the second leg and dominate.
You say a necessary young lad.
No, that's what I wanted.
Did I hear a young lad?
Grandfather. People that scored, like the old guys scored in that goal. Tadic scored.
Tadic, formerly of Southampton.
These are grandfathers.
Zeko and Nesri scored in. Those three guys, the three popular guys scoring for. I think Jose doesn't want problem. He's bringing old guys to just win games for him.
No, they don't have Gen Z spirit.
No, they don't. That's. I think for me, you look at the side that played. Everybody was on top of their game. The defense line were getting the passes shut down, so they don't get into. And Anderlecht for me are creative going forward. But I think for me, just that they didn't have enough power, they didn't have enough creativity to break down the what's it called, the defense. And whenever there's a set piece or there's a cross in, yeah, NSU is always there to bury. You saw him in Spain. You saw what he was doing. Was it at Sevilla or so? You could see that whenever there's a cross in, he's always there to bury. He scored a goal against Man United. He scored a goal against big teams that played in this Europa League. So he's one of those goal threats anytime. And the other guy that scored,
Zeko. Zeko is always scoring.
A legend, man.
Zeko is
legend.
He says a common hand for him. I just common hand for him. I don't want to just call his name any up. No, disrespect the guy. It was just fantastic.
Okay.
On a side note, though, Brighton Sai had a good
Yeah, that's
game.
what I want to talk about. Saye, he played from the right fullback. He had a good game. In that game, that his team Fenerbahce won that game 3 goals to a good result for Jose Mourinho. Jose probably, if he gets the result next week, they are going to move to the next round.
It's not if they will.
They will.
When they get, it's not if they get, when they get the result next week to the next round.
Okay, Eze Akma winning 4-1 against Galatasaray. That was a surprising result for me.
Surprising result. I
Should
didn't
not
see
surprise
it
you.
at
Even
all.
Morata
Yes, man.
It
started.
should not surprise you. Look at their records in the league.
So
In the Conference League, I'm saying
We have
Europa League, it should
we
not
have
surprise you.
clubs who are doing well in their leagues, who have had an abysmal performance when they come to the Europa or to the Conference League. So it doesn't translate that you are doing well in the league means you should be doing well in the Conference League or in the Europa League. So it's a surprise because we all expected Galatasaray, at least if this guy is not available, you still have other options within the side. I could remember very vividly that during the press conference, what's his name now, was tapping up and praising and hyping the star players in the side, and for them to now come and succumb to this loss is alarming.
See, I'm not going to say anything than AZ Akma have been a side that has dominated and has always competed for titles in Netherlands. And they've always come into the Champions League, the Europa League to compete for titles as well. So Galatasaray side is not, we should not hype up the Galatasaray side, because if you remember, they said something about, Mourinho said something about this side. Said they are not really that fantastic when they come on the pitch, but they've always been sided by the referee. There's always controversy.
That's the rule. That's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
And now, if you look at this and you say, okay, that's Mourinho talking, then you look at them in continental stages. You ask yourself, this is the same Galatasaray that wins the league. Why are they not performing here? You saw Celtic. Celtic can win the league in Scotland. I say, hey, just Celtic and Rangers. And they come to Champions League and they will fight. Even if they lose. Even if they lose.
It's
very bad example.
Very bad example.
No. Even if, look at
Why will you? Let's just
look at their last match against Bayern Munich.
Let's call it as it is. Some of these clubs are just using Champions League to make extra money, and they're not there to win
I'm
it.
just saying Celtic now. They've got to the quarterfinals.
When?
In recent years, in the past, they got to the quarterfinals. I'm giving you an example. Now look at their performance against Bayern Munich last night, the fourth night. Look at the way they played. Look at the way they went on to play in that game. You say, okay, this is here to fight, even if they are
Fight for what? What was their
just the
performance?
result, a win, a draw. But this one was just too much. Considering 4 goals.
Okay, I think for me, I think
John will say it's a backwater team.
It's a backwater team for crying out loud.
It's not a backwater team.
No, do you know what these teams are? Do you know who these teams are? These teams are those silent people who come into wedding events. They dress shabbily or not too badly. We all know that they are suffering or they are going through some challenges. And when they are throwing money or dogumale, they are the ones who are forming that they are bending down to dance, whereby they are packing new tickets from the floor and they are switching it into their bag.
If you snooze,
that is what they are. They are not here to win it, man. They are just here to make up the numbers.
It's surprising. That was what we said about Ajax when they went to the semi-finals in 2018.
Markets.
Afterwards. The Tottenham that went after them, what happened?
Okay, that game ended 4 goals to 1. Galatasaray losing that game. Osimhen did not play that game at all. He's still nothing. He's injured, so probably next week they need him because Morata did not score. So let's see if Osimhen was going to be fit for the next week to play and find a way to just save their season or save their European season. So we'll look at that game next week. Okay, let's talk about Porto and Roma. That game ended 1-1. I think it was a good game. Roma scored first, even though they got a red card. After they conceded the equalizer, they got a red card and they defended well. Getting a draw away from home is a good result. They can now go to Rome next week and try and get a win and qualify for the
Yeah,
next round.
it's a good game. It was played between two competitors who match each other's on paper. Forget about one team not having as much star power within the side. It was a good game between two compares, and as it is, it was also a physical game because you could see over about 6 or 7 yellow cards issued in the game. But I was watching that match yesterday, and I was just thinking to myself, please, Guardiola, can you just come and pick up Diogo Costa here? Let's sub out somebody
The
in our
goalkeeper,
group.
right?
Oh, yes, goalkeeper was fantastic, and I feel like he should be moving on to better
John
things.
on the scout of us.
Straight up, man.
John on the scout. He not
Straight up.
scout. Well, you see, this is one thing about seeing the game. When you see the game without sentiment, you will see each player for who they are and which player that can fit into any team. You get. We look at the Roma side. This man has come in. He's trying to balance the ship, and look at the way he's been mixing up players. He mix up today, it's not working. He do another mix tomorrow, it's not working. He finds somebody that is not working in that mix and put somebody else. Like say, let's say now you have this set of 5 players, it's not working. You have this other set of 5 players, it's not working. You look for one that is not working in this set and one that is not working in this set, and you switch them. If it doesn't work, that's how you continue to move 1-1 until it works, and that's what for Roma this season, and it's been good for them. Coming in good, giving us a couple of games, winning a couple, and going into this game. Okay, fine, Roma. Amarodian will score a hat trick. These people will score a goal, and Costa will be on top of his game. But no, 1-1. They share the point, and it's like, fine, come to Italy. Whenever he comes to Turin, we'll get the job done, and we'll qualify for the next stage. And I'm just saying, it's a good game to see.
Okay, let's see what happens in this Europa League. Next Thursday is another round of football. Okay, let's talk about Conference League. I'm not interested in Conference League now, but the interesting thing is about the guy that scored for Real Betis yesterday.
Yes.
The Manchester United reject.
The spinner.
Yes, the spinner again scored and he got a man of the match again in that game against the Conference League against Ghent. Look at him, he's doing well. And after the press conference, he's saying that he was sure. I don't know that he's sure that he's going to do well outside England, and he's doing well. In his own word, he said, in my heart, I knew I would be very happy at Betis. I was very sure about this. This win goes to the fans. They never stop supporting me. Oh, but that guy don't jump from Man U.
See,
Anyhow,
I think Man U fans should be super excited with this because you need him shining somewhere
so that they can pay.
So that you can at least recover your investment, because the stock price of this player has tanked. It's now minus 40%. So Manchester United need to not just break even, they need to make bank on him. So kudos to him, because coming to a club can swallow you as a player. But then going to the right place, it can accelerate your career. You can now see the likes of Atletico Madrid, the likes of Barcelona, sending 1 or 2 junior scouts over to check this guy out. Maybe, so I think it's a good one for him, and Manchester United fans should be happy.
They are not happy because they want this guy on the pitch.
They don't want him on the pitch, man.
If you see we keep talking about performance and not performance. If you want to play for the badge, if you want to play you want to play football, you get. Even if you're on the bench and they sub you in, you go and you make your mark. Since Amorim came in, look at how many times this guy has come in and Ahmad has gone on to score goals. Look at how many times this guy has come in, and from that right, you could see a different type of football from the right side of the field. Ahmad and Anthony, you would know for a fact that these two are meant to play together. But either one person playing as a wing back, while the other person plays as a 10, or one person plays as a 10. You can switch it up anyhow you want to see it. But I just feel like, for me, him going out on loan reduces the option of an attack for Man United. Now they didn't get any player.
Yes.
It becomes a problem. And I said this before the.
They are down 2 attackers.
I said this before the transfer window. This guy has always come in good as a sub. His numbers are always up there. They had said something about this guy in training, but it's just like the atmosphere in the Premier League. Some players will not just come to the Premier League and excel. That's just one thing I've noticed. Now and again, it's not just not the Premier League. It's not just the Premier League. The club they now decide to go to.
That's another thing.
Now the Premier League is a different atmosphere. Then the particular club is just like Anthony Gordon, who has been doing well for Everton or so, now comes to Newcastle. You know that definitely the fan base will support him because he's a young lad. Then you now switch it up a little. Callum Wilson going to maybe a Man City. He will take a boo all day, every day, because no fan base will want to see a player like that. You get the work rate is not there. The intelligence is not there. So I just feel like Anthony, the work ethics, everything is there, mentality is there. It's just that he wasn't given the proper opportunity or the proper channel.
Yes.
Let's be frank. They gave him opportunity 1 year.
See,
They had
see,
almost 1.5
see.
years. 1.5 season. They had
You need to know. You need to know.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but look at the difference now, right? The difference is that he came into Manchester United as the purported Tony Stark of Manchester United, but didn't deliver, right? Reality has set in now, right? All the SSCs that you used to have last season or last 2 seasons have washed away. Reality has set in. You are now taking a step down from your glory days at United, and you're now looking at, bro, let me just have a successful career somewhere, earn good money, and then build back into those glory days again. And that's where he is right now.
Okay, let's see what happens with him. It's going to be an interesting watch, Anthony. Let's see if he's going to drive Real Betis to win the Conference League, because Chelsea are the favourites to win that competition. If Real Betis plays well, probably they can reach the final and probably win that tournament. But let's see what happens. Now they have Anthony, superstar, the spinner. I can remember that.
I remember
that first game for Manchester United. They started spinning. Everybody started clapping.
Against Arsenal.
I said, okay.
Against Arsenal. No problem.
I'll market now. I'll market.
Against Arsenal, he came in.
After that,
scored a beautiful goal.
He did spin again till he left the.
No, he spinned. He spinned. I think it was against what's called Brighton, and Estupinian wanted to send him to the hospital.
Okay, let's see what happens with Anthony. Good result for him. Good game for him too yesterday. Okay, let's dive into the Premier League proper. The Premier League is happening today, and Chelsea have an opportunity to have their own revenge against Brighton. Remember, just a couple of days ago, Brighton knocked them out of the FA Cup, winning that game 2-1. Now Chelsea are going back to the same stadium, trying to get 3 points. Remember, Chelsea are in contention for that top four. That top four between Manchester City, Newcastle, Aston Villa. A whole lot of things are fighting for that top four, and Chelsea is in that mix. Talking to the press conference, Maresca said that the plan for Chelsea is not to qualify top four in the first season.
Yes.
The plan is to make Chelsea stable and qualify for the top four second season. Then the third season, you can now talking about the league.
Yes.
That's what he said. That is the plan. Not be me talk him, not him talk him. That's how you talk him. So, but what do you make of this whole thing about Chelsea? Especially, let's start with this game before we talk about Maresca. What do you think will happen in this game?
Brighton 10th, 34 points. Chelsea 4th. 43 points. 9 points between them. 9 points. 34 to 43. 9 points between the two of them. So from 4th to 10th, and that's why they say Premier League is the most competitive league in the world. With this position now, you know Brighton want to cut down the gap, because there's a chance of them going to Europe. You get top 6 is open for anybody to come and stay in that position. So with that gap, if you cut it down to 6, you have a chance of going to Europe. If you win the FA Cup as well, you have a chance of going to Europe. I just feel like Brighton will come into this game knowing that they've known how to hurt Chelsea.
Yes.
Forget the fact that you say Chelsea didn't start their main players. The players that started in that last game will still start again, because
which main players? Jackson
no, that's what I'm saying now. The players that started, because they say Chelsea didn't start their main players. That's why they say Jackson did not start that game. This one he will not start. It's simple. Sancho will start definitely. So it's the same player that played just a couple of days ago. We still that those are the players that play this game. So I'm just saying that Brighton has already known how to hurt these players, and they're just going to do their job.
John, what do you think will happen to this game? Chelsea to get 3 points?
It could go anywhere. Like I said before, I'm going to just repeat it because I feel it's so candid about Brighton. Brighton have a unique set of young players who know how to put any team to the sword. You talk about you can help me out here. You talk about is it João Pedro or
João Pedro?
Yes. You talk about the Adingra. You talk about the Karu Mitoma. You talk about
there's this new guy. This guy has been causing problem. Minte.
Yes, Yakubu
Minte.
Yes.
That guy has been like a ton, even against Man United. He has been a ton on defenders' flesh. From the right, he's destroying defenders. From whenever he cuts back to the left, he's causing problem. So Mitoma can play and still come in, and then can still come in from Mitoma. So it's like whenever they take out a player, somebody else is there to replace him.
And the bottom line is, are we going to see the same bumbling Chelsea that lost the last game? That's the thing. Are we going to see them turn up for the first time in this encounter and get something out of this match? Because as it is right now, You know how you say that the sand are slipping away in the hourglass? That's how it feels for Chelsea right now. This season, having started right, could end terribly for them if they do not get back on track.
My only problem is Estupinia will not be starting, so we'll definitely be seeing another Lampati, another Chelsea reject come in and cause problem for Chelsea
And he's
again.
doing fine though.
Okay, let's
I've been
see.
doing fine since.
Before we talk about Maresca injury update for Chelsea fans, their player Jackson is injured, so he's going to be about 30 days. He's going to be out for like 4 weeks. Then good news for them is Fafana. Fafana is back maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, but the problem is that how long will he stay before he goes back? He has been injury prone. He was actually had potential from Leicester to Chelsea that he's going to be a world-class defender, but he has not really worked out for him because of so many injuries that he has had at Chelsea. But he's going to be back soon. Then let's talk about what Maresca said and what the board told him. It's not that's his own word. He said we are planning, and he's not planning to sign any player like free agents. Like we're going to talk about that with Arsenal. Arsenal will probably thinking of signing somebody to replace the injured Havertz, but we're going to talk about that. But for Maresca, what do you think? Do you think that the board told him he's doing the right thing? Because the board might tell you the right thing, and they will sit at the end of the season and sack you.
Of course, that's the thing. You know, you always have to take what the board says with a pinch of salt, because if the sentiment, this is what you need to understand about football. While you have contractual agreements in the game, you also have fan sentiment, because fan sentiment going negative against the club, against the hierarchy. If the fans feel like the club are not supporting the team or doing well, they can break their commitment to you and get you out of the club. You have your own safety net because they terminated your contract. You get a windfall of 20 or 10 or 15 million pounds to ease your ego, right? So while you have what you have with the club as a contractual agreement coming into the job, you also need to look at fan sentiment. And Chelsea fans right now are hyper entitled. They are hyper entitled. They are super spoiled because of all the goodies Roman Abramovich brought to the club. And so they cannot just, take a U-turn from the process of changing managers every 9 months.
Okay, now Chelsea are in the Conference League, and the normal step is after Conference League, the Europa League for the Champions League, which is actually what they told him. Eventually, they are telling him that 2 years was the plan for them to play Champions League, not for them to challenge for the title, league title, to play at least top 4 in there. You should be the team in 2 years that they should play Champions League. He said that they are on course to do that, or the plan is working
ahead
out.
Of the schedule,
ahead of the schedule, but what do you make of this statement? Because I think sometimes it affects the players' mentality, and the fans' expectation will drop.
The fans' expectation can drop if I don't care. But I'm just saying, a new manager comes in, you don't expect him to win titles in his first season. That's why the pressure is not on this my man that is leading the ring right now, and Slot.
Yeah.
No pressure on him. You don't expect him to just come in first season and is challenging for titles. I said this before. Chelsea with the former manager was on a forward trajectory, and all he was sacked.
Yes.
Towards the end of the season, the same contract they gave this man, same contract they gave him. Just steady the ship. Next season, compete for top 4, and you saw Chelsea steady the ship, and he finished in top 6, which was he was on course to go to Europa League. Then all of a sudden, Man United won the FA Cup, and they dropped him down to the Conference League. So he was already qualified for the Europa League. Anyhow you want to see it, he was qualified for the Europa League, and he couldn't keep the job for the next season because the board felt like he wasn't doing enough. So I'm just saying, for Maresca now, even if they tell you the target is the Europa League,
just do your best.
Just do your best and win a title.
Okay, now
I think that's the only thing. That's the only thing Pochettino did not get right.
That's the only thing that
Pochettino did not get right.
These Chelsea fans.
Just win a trophy.
Okay.
Now this season is going to be tough because even I'll say it again, even the Conference League is not certain.
The Conference League should be certain because is
no
right. The Conference League is certain. I get the point where I'm saying it's uncertain because, of course, if Chelsea can win 4 games in a row and then go and lose in a very shambolic performance,
and it's knockout football.
Yes, and it's knockout football.
You've seen that this season they're in knockout football, from the Carabao Cup to the FA Cup. That Chelsea has not really done well. They've not really impressed.
True talk. So
in knockout football. So it's not written in stone that they are coming to win this Conference League.
So in that light, I understand you. But when you consider the fact that Chelsea are a shark in a pond filled up with little fishes, then you have to make them favorites one way or another. So the most important thing for Maresca now is to find a way for Chelsea to score without the bumbling attackers they have in their side.
Okay, now the another contention in that press conference is their goalkeeper situation.
Yes.
He said that he's going to change Sanchez, that Sanchez is not number one again. That Jorgensen is going to be number one. His own word, our goalkeeper at the moment is Philip Jorgensen. What do you make him dropping Sanchez from the...
Chelsea have recruited very well in the goalkeeping department. In fact, they are overcrowded in the goalkeeping department.
They had to send two on loan.
Yes, they had to send two on loan, and then I was shocked when they signed somebody else in the goalkeeping department. And let's not forget that in the summer they were also linked to another goalkeeper as well. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yes, it's coming next season.
Yes, so I was like, what are we doing here, man? So I feel like you have to drop him because of the type of mistakes he made so far this season. You look at the goal from Erling Haaland, the chip. You look at a couple of other scenarios where he's misread it. He's come out of his 18-yard box to try and save a situation and made it worse. So you have to take him out of the spotlight, out of fan scrutiny, and bring somebody else who has been consistent for you in the Conference League and other competitions to start. At least give that one a run in as Chelsea number one. You never know.
So what do you think about that decision?
I rest my case.
I think it's the right decision.
It's not how you bet your number one.
The thing that they brought this boy as a number one. He's
See,
young.
they didn't buy anybody as number one. There was an Arize at number one. He was sent off on loan. He's doing well at Bournemouth now.
Yes, he's doing
there was
well
somebody else at number one that is playing somewhere in Strasbourg or so. There's another person they bought, and they say he will remain in his club till the end of the season. Now, these are three goalkeepers that could start ahead of Sanchez anytime, any day. Three goalkeepers that could start ahead of Sanchez anytime, any day. Then you brought in Philip Jorgensen from Spain that could also start ahead of Sanchez, and you put him on the bench
for Villarreal.
Yeah.
And you put him on the bench. Now, four goalkeepers that could start ahead of Sanchez, and yet Sanchez still starts. It's not Man City where you have only two, Ortega and Ederson. It's not Liverpool where you have only two. Even the Liverpool that you have only two, at least at some games you see Kelleher start. A couple of games back, you saw Kelleher start.
For me, that position is overcrowded, man.
You get so it's not Man United where you have only this guy and Onana and Bayenda. It's not Newcastle where you have only these two again, Kova and Nick Pope. Other teams have two goalkeepers. They have another goalkeeper on the bench, but you always have two first-team goalkeepers that could start, and they switch between them.
But they'll tell you they're a big club, and if they can afford to have five,
now you're a big club, you can afford to have five. Agreed. But at least let there be switches. Let there be this person starts. See who is better, not just in training.
Okay,
and for Chelsea, they've not really mixed up this line. That's why I keep saying it. You've not really mixed up the starting lineup. You've not really mixed up the players you want to work with and players you don't want to work with. Because now you just feel like all the things I said in the summer was just an absolute waste of my time. Now I need to start getting those players that I sent off to come and start getting
to come
the
back
results.
and bail me out.
Okay, let's see what happens in that goalkeeper situation. For now, Sanchez is not number one for Chelsea. Jorgensen is going to be the number one for now. That is the word of Maresca. But today's game, we will see who he fields on the pitch, because he can say one thing and do another thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Part of the thing he said that is to give Sanchez time to go and recover mentally, because probably he has watched him in training and probably he's mentally down about all the errors he's been committing throughout the season for Chelsea. But for now, Jorgensen is going to be the number one for Chelsea from now, probably till he changes. And sometimes once they change and that group start performing,
you're out. Straight up. You are out straight up.
That's the problem about goalkeepers. We don't just change goalkeepers.
Let's not forget when Czech had that injury and a certain young boy came in and took that position and made it his own. Bro, Czech came back, the great Czech that Chelsea fans were singing his praise. Bro, Courtois took over straight up.
That Courtois situation was very dicey. Courtois has been on loan at Atletico for 2 seasons because of Czech, and Czech was aging. So after the first game, Jose Mourinho just decided to put him there and told Czech you are going to be number 2. After that season, Czech decided to just go.
Yeah.
But he was still a big age. Yeah, it was a big decision for
injuries.
It was a big decision for Jose to do that, and it worked out for him because Courtois actually gave him that league that season. Okay, let's move on from Chelsea, but Chelsea is playing Brighton today, and Maresca have been talking to the press conference. Part of the thing we just discussed is that their goalkeeper will change from now on. But let's see if that will be that will work out for them in this race for top four. Okay, other news in the Premier League is for Manchester City. Akanji is injured. He's going to be out. He's not going to play the weekend's game. And for Martinez is had his operation, so he's going to be out to almost the end of the season. So for Martinez for Manchester United, good luck to all these injured players. For us now, we talked about yesterday that Havertz is injured till the end of the season. That means Arsenal is going to play the remainder of the season without a striker.
Now you think so to get striker?
Jesus is out of the season and Havertz is out of the season. So they are saying that they are going to find solution internal. That means they are not going to sign any free player. But let's see that how it works out for them tomorrow. We're going to talk about Arsenal because they are playing Leicester tomorrow. Okay, stay with the Premier League before we start taking calls. The decision for the PSR was decided yesterday. If you don't know what it is profit sustainability rule in the Premier League. It means that club cannot overspend what if they are not making enough profit. So they voted about it yesterday and they decided to keep it ongoing because this particular rule have affected the clubs like Newcastle, Manchester United, even this transfer window. Manchester United couldn't spend because of his mid.
They will breach the rule
they have to wait.
Yes,
they have to wait to the end of the season when they will balance their books before they can buy again. So he affected clubs in this particular summer, and they have voted again to leave that PSL again for next season before they can probably talk about it again. What do you make of that decision?
Let's not forget. I just like to put things in perspective. Let's not forget that one of the big undertones of the beginning of this season was the fact that Chelsea had to offload Conor Gallagher to get within PSR range because according to the PSR, according to the PSR, you are not allowed to make a loss greater than 104 million pounds, which means if you spend 200 million on players, you have to recover at least 150 million in sales so that you can make another expense in the coming window. And this has been so terrible because there are a couple of clubs who are in breach already and a couple of them who are going to have to sell players, give up players. For example, last 2 seasons there was talk about Newcastle having to sell either an Isak or a Gimenez or one other player to get within PSR.
And they went ahead to bring in Tonali.
Yes, and they added Tonali. So there's a lot of conversations about it. But I feel like the clubs voted, all Premier League clubs voted to keep it for another season. I think they should keep the PSR, but I would like for them to make an amendment to allow clubs who are just newly taking over
the
ring
leaders for this keeping PSR. I go call their name.
Let's not forget that when the Newcastle takeover happened, they could not land a sponsorship deal for their shirt for a couple of months because they had to make sure that whatever they were doing would not flout PSR and some other restrictions that they put in place for clubs who are going through a takeover. So they should give this team soft landing because this takeover, this investment is bringing money into the Premier League. So they should make it easier for clubs.
Okay, now, so what do you think about this decision that I've made?
I wanted to say, I said the ringleader for people to keep this PSR, I know him.
Man City.
No, Man City. It's not Man City. Man City is on. They are still in court. Is this man in North London? This man in North London, Daniel is the one leading because him will say let PSR out there because I can't spend money in buying players. This if they remove PSR now, coaches will force me to spend heavy and get players.
You know the funny thing, Daniel Levy is the least person who should be kicking against PSR.
He's the one kicking against it
because his club is financially stable. Club is financially stable, yes. And I also think that PSR is a way for big teams to keep smaller teams small. Because if you are a small team, you have a squad that is worth 50 million pounds, and you get a new investor coming in, buying the club out, and wants to put 1 billion into the club, you can't spend more than 300 million without recovering 150 million the coming season, which means that you have to sell. And you have to sell academy players because these players are pure profit to the bottom line. And it's hurting those clubs from competing evenly with bigger teams. Okay, so if you took over a club prior to the PSRO, you're in a better position to grow as a club than teams currently going through it now. So I feel that that's the scenario on ground. Daniel Levy has a brand new stadium. He is the top 3 earner in the Premier League right now. He is the top least spender in transfer market. So, bro, he has a lot of cash to spend in the
He has a
PSL.
lot of cash. You don't understand. If I have that amount of cash to spend, how many times does Tottenham Hotspur sell players? That's the question. How many players have they sold in recent years and they sold for heavy price? They
Whose
hardly
fault
sell.
though? Whose fault
So,
though?
so if you say that Levy should spend and bring in player, I'm telling you he's ringleader as alongside other smaller teams in the
The
Premier
question
League.
is whose
Now,
fault though, man?
which means everybody is affected because other smaller teams join the ring, and every smaller team know that they can't spend so amount, they can't spend so amount, and there's a price cap on how much you can spend per season. Now, I'm telling you that if this man accepts the PSR, because we know people, it's not we know, it's me knowing people, it's me knowing somebody. You are seeing this person and saying this is this person. I know Daniel. I think before the PSR rule came in, you saw some managers who were voting for PSR to come in. You saw the smaller teams, and when the bigger teams noticed that it wasn't in their favor, they started looking for a way to review and see where they can at least change the price cap on the PSR. But now, I'll be happy for them to deduct price. I can watch them laugh.
But then that's negative mentality.
That's the person I am telling you
And
about.
another point I want to make right now, just before I forget it, another point I want to make now is that one of the rules that was in contention this season is Premier League club owners not being allowed to offer their clubs interest-free loans for infrastructure development. You have Manchester United, the Ineos Group, who are looking to build a new stadium for the club, who are now looking at cutting down staff redundancies within the team to raise money rather than the owner putting money into the club.
You saw the new list of sackings.
Yes, I saw that as well. But if the owners were allowed to at least give a staggered interest loan to the club, to at least look at the situation Manchester United is now with the Carrington training ground and a couple of other investments, look at the same across other clubs in England, there needs to be this wiggle room for clubs to invest, because you can't compete favorably with Tottenham.
Happened is Newcastle, versus Liverpool for that final. So that's the one. And another rule that is going to be introduced in the FA Cup fifth round is the VAR is going to be back from the fifth round, and they start using the semi-automated offside rule. It means that they will probably switch from that line they are drawing to use. If you look at watch the World Cup, in the World Cup, you will see how they are doing it with the World Cup, and when they will put in the shadow to make sure that line they draw, sometimes they confuse themselves. But now they are going to use technology. If you don't know, the technology is the same technology they use in the World Cup or in the La Liga.
Yes.
If you look at their the way they do their offside traps, you see it there. That's what they are going to be introduced for the next round of the FA Cup. Okay. Let's take phone calls about all these things we are talking about today, especially the Chelsea. What do you make of Maresca saying that Chelsea fans will know the title race? So for even for next season, know
the top 4 race.
And what do you make about him saying that and him changing their goalkeeper for the rest of the season? The number to call is 0706 048 5853. Call us and tell us what you think, that if Maresca is making the right decision for his club. Okay, let's take the first call. Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Name and location, please. Okay. Friday, what is your own contribution?
This is just our coach where they talk. We don't want to do a competition of hard pressure here. If we don't do that, they go talk out. That's the way they talk, and I just remind you. I'm not a talk.
Yes.
If we don't do that, they give us top 4 to qualify. You know, kind of come. You know, you have to get up. If it is another, no come down and talk. Just know you are that kind of case. They won't pick up like that. They give you. Give me your young player. Can't be that kind of stuff. Huh? You don't have to say that kind of stuff. Say, look, I ain't time for this and that. If you look at Europa, I'm in that for. You know, go. Let me go see.
Okay.
I don't remember for that. Just really look. Just to get the money. You know how much
you. Okay, let's see what happens with Man U and Chelsea.
Normally.
Okay, what is your contribution?
One was on the Kunabuna, you know, the winners at the FA Cup, they chase us away, Brighton. But now, this is the time we're looking for them. Yes, because this one is total football. It's premiership. We are going to maintain our four. Whether Maresca, Maropa like it or not. Yes, because this top four is compulsory this time.
But your coach says it's not compulsory for you people to enter top four.
It's for your business. We don't care. This our objective as this is compulsory. If we forget our league, they will finish 8th position.
Okay.
Brighton, I will call on Monday to make Manchester United will not overtake them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. If Manchester United, wait, did I hear Manchester United will overtake them?
Oh, you didn't hear that part.
That one a dream.
If-
Nothing, one journey.
It was the if for me. I felt like,
Na
okay,
the
fine.
dream.
No,
That one a dream.
When I heard if, I said, okay, let's get it. Talk your mind. Talk. And you said Manchester United did not. Come on now.
Now I deceive you.
Come on now.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Gordon from Benin City.
Okay,
Welcome.
What is your contribution? Okay, we lost that call 0706 048 5853. So let's take more calls. Yeah, hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, guys in the studio.
morning.
Name and location, please. Okay, Pedro, what is your contribution? Please, are you speak up?
Concerning Manchester United, the major issue is Nakama they come after them. Now, what they do?
Okay.
They say that our grandfather did not the pursuit. Now, what their grandfather did the pursuit.
Okay.
And then for what is his name? Arsenal. Arsenal, why they go keep Man City out for that top four, for that second position, because I'm a Liverpool fan. Once you get that second, they're going to find trophy.
Yeah.
I think that I will maintain that second. Make Man City take the second position.
Okay.
But now, what I don't follow, how will I go down? Because I see Man City and Arsenal. I
Okay.
prefer Man City. I prefer Arsenal at my back than Man City. Because once